Jake Paul trolls boxing fans for having double standards, as they want to get rid of old matchups but do not accept new ones. Jake Paul claimed that his fight with Anthony Joshua is considered so mismatched by everyone that even UK authorities are unwilling to sanction it. The comparison between Ben Whittaker's fight with Benjamin Gavazzi and Jake vs. Joshua's odds shows that Ben is a bigger underdog than Jake, revealing that mismatches are common in sports. First and foremost, Eddie Hearn made it clear that the fight is not rigged, claiming that it's so frustrating when people ask whether the fight is scripted or not. He revealed that right on the fight night, Joshua is going to knock out Jake as soon as he possibly can, and only his victory will speak out loud to make people believe that the fight is not scripted.
One, it's completely illegal, right? It's a sanctioned fight where people can place bets on the fight. It's completely illegal to have any kind of script. We would never, could you imagine a conversation? Oh yeah, hi Eddie, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna come out in the second round, right? We're gonna throw a jab. Like, let me tell you what's gonna, let me tell you the script for AJ against Jake Paul. The bell's gonna go, AJ's gonna go out, take the middle of the ring, and he's going to unload the heaviest artillery on Jake Paul's chin he can as quickly as possible. And he's going to knock him spark out. If you think this is scripted, wait till you see what happens on December 19th, because you will go, me, one thing's for sure, that weren't scripted.
Talking about predictions for Jake versus Joshua, Ryan Bowden and Noah Tadano with some other guys recently looked at the matchup card. They said that this bout is extremely interesting because there is a huge difference between both fighters' skills, size, and experience. Satirically, they added that even though this matchup is uneven, they would still choose Jake Paul to win. They mocked Jake's self-belief but chose him to win.
But the skill gap and the sheer size of this dude, we can pop up a picture here of just the height difference, and obviously beyond that, his skill level is his.
I'm glad he kind of went up though, like to kind of prove to everyone, like, all right, well, I'm fighting this fighter guy. Like, is this young, legit or
the biggest size and a boxer? I feel like he's gonna get sparked out, but it would be the most insane if he has a puncher's chance and could.
I think Jake Paul's gonna win. I'm calling it right now.
Damn.
He's gonna get that one lucky like power punch.
But like, do you think you can be like? Because I'm sure in his head he truly believes he can win. But do you think your delusion like meets reality? If it's like you're so confident and then you get hit with that first punch and you're like, holy.
Looking into Jake's success, they mention how far Jake has come, as he used to be a YouTuber but now is fighting world-class champions. Then they mock that if one person is getting highly paid in return for a loss from Jake Paul, then anyone can accept this offer, and they also criticize Jake for blasting the fans who are trolling him.
That's what he's claiming he got paid for this one.
Dang, and he already gets paid? Like, how does that work? I don't know.
I mean, probably sponsors and the pull he has, but...
I mean, I'll get knocked the out for $267 million.
Because it's not like you're not... People won't look at you negatively. It's a sport. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. So if Jake Paul's saying, hey, bro, I'll pay you $200 million, you just get one loss on your record, I might take it.
We gotta be careful though, because then apparently another thing out, Jake Paul is suing everybody that is saying that his fights are rigged, just speaking about it.
What?
Like,
he ain't gonna see this.
Yeah, no, he's not. It's not hard to speculate. I think because it's so hard to even imagine, because this dude is actually a world champion and is gonna go fight one of the best boxers next year. It's like...
While closing their remarks, they said that Jake is acting like a villain in front of the fans because his haters who tweet against him, Jake takes advantage of them and acts like he is an innocent guy. In fact, Jake is controlling his fans just like a shark, while the public is shrimp for him. As for Ryan and No, Jake is actually a decent guy, but he does this to get attention.
Paul on a podcast for an hour and a half. I feel like he's a very likable person. He's very chill and just like a nice guy. But turns it up the trolling so that people can be like, yeah, that guy. That way they can be tuning in and talking about his fight.
He knows what he's doing.
And it doesn't truly matter if you're living in your $32 million house in Puerto Rico. Like, who cares?
They're characters.
What anybody says.
Yes. They master the characters that work for them.
I think if you're someone who's like, I hate Jake Paul, I think you're a sheep, because that's exactly what he wants, and you're gonna watch the fight and tune in and make your little tweet, and it's gonna get him more money. It's like you're on a completely different wavelength.
Going forward, Liam Go talked about how fans perceive this fight. They think that this fight is not going to happen, actually, but Liam believed that this bout is for real because he knows the context behind this bout. He talked about Joshua, claiming that this might be the easiest payday for him till now. After getting highly paid for this bout, Joshua is going to fight a few other fighters next year with a huge amount of money, and then he will retire to spend his whole life on his money.
Jake Paul, we know, December the 19th. I know there's a lot of people out there who really truly don't believe that this fight's going to happen. I've seen so many people say that they really don't believe, they're not getting, well, I was gonna say not getting hyped for it. Would you really, like, I'm not necessarily hyped for this fight per se, but I kind of am, I'm not looking at it thinking it's definitely not gonna happen. I'm thinking it probably will. I'm thinking Jake Paul, for that amount of money, will probably, you know, look for a place to lie down. I'm thinking AJ is probably thinking, I am absolutely making the easiest money I've ever going to make, and then I can go ahead with, you know, a fight in February. Apparently Turkey wants to do that, and I can go ahead and fight Tyson Fury next year, and I can retire.
Liam then came to Jake's sparring partners that he noticed that his partners are not renowned at this point, but they may be well known in future. Only the talent matters most, which not everyone has. He thinks that Jake must be sparring hard as his opponent Joshua is actually a hard guy.
Jake Paul posted a clip and he said, good rounds today. Now, we know with certain fighters, Alexander Usyk, amongst others, when they show who they're sparring, sometimes you're looking at them and you're thinking, right, the dimensions are similar to who they're fighting, like Tyson Fury when he was in the run to that fight. But you're looking at the sparring partners, you're like, who the hell are they? And some of them are early in their careers and they go on to become, you know, names. Might not go on to be world beaters, they go on to become names. I do remember, I think Filip Hrgovic was in the same camp with Povetkin for the Joshua fight along with Dubois. Dubois was the one we knew.
The Liam encouraged Jake's sparring partners, but he also tried hard to come to reality, claiming that his partners are not very experienced. He said that this is not going to help Jake, as only being dominant in sparring sessions would never help Jake win this fight until he faces Joshua for real, or he spars with someone matching Joshua's skill set.
With God, Jake Paul is in there with guys similar dimensions, you know, power punchers, physically big, strong guys. Someone like a Frank Sanchez is going to move. It's great preparation. Well, that's not going to help him win, you know. And again, when people listen, right, when you hear people say, oh, in sparring, you know, Conor Benn was saying it a lot. You know, not in the run to the Eubank fight, but I think in the run to the first fight or one of his fights over the last year or so. He's like, I'm trashing my spar. I'm not. Well, who are you sparring though? You're saying you're knocking them out, you're trashing them, this, that, the other. But who are these people? You know, are they top level fighters? Because if you're, you know, sparring the likes of hypothetically Devin Haney and people like that, and you're trashing them in sparring.
While becoming increasingly honest, JG2 claimed that even if Jake wins, people would still not believe him. They would assume his victory already is scripted, and looking into his previous fights, people were doubtful about his early fights where he won. JG2 made it clear that they do not trust Jake's talent and are skeptical about his victories till now.
And with nobody giving Jake Paul a chance in this fight, the saddest part about him potentially winning is if he does win this fight, I don't think anyone would believe it. You can even so easily find people already thinking this fight is rigged from the beginning, because for whatever reason, people just don't think Jake Paul can win boxing matches against the likes of YouTubers and MMA fighters and mid boxers. Because even if he did rig his fights, I don't understand why he would script himself losing a decision loss to Tommy Fury of all people. Or when Tyron Woodley nearly punched him through the ropes and then people thought it was rigged because Woodley didn't follow up on it. No, that's just basically vintage Woodley.
Although Jake is a bit skilled, he is still far from Joshua. He discussed that Joshua is the best, elite, and very experienced, and Jake can never win from him. Even if Jake wins, everybody would be shocked because this is really surprising for a guy who cannot even make eye contact with his opponent to still beat him.
So yeah, Jake Paul is decent. It's just, you know, not really going to be enough against Anthony Joshua, where he has no advantage whatsoever, other than the fact that he's kind of younger than him. Whilst Anthony Joshua was becoming a gold medalist in the Olympics and winning titles in boxing, Jake Paul, I guess, was doing this. And as someone that's never thought Jake Paul fights were actually rigged, it's just people get upset by the results. Even if he does beat Anthony Joshua by any way possible, I would start raising an eyebrow, I'm not gonna lie. You don't even have to do any kind of analysis of this fight. You can just look at the body language alone. I mean, the man can't even look him in the eyes without mentally preparing himself first. And if the mogging itself wasn't funny enough, this bit was my personal favorite by Anthony Joshua, just giving him the side eye. And only made funnier when in comparison to his face-off with Gervonta Davis.
That Jake will lose by getting punched in just the first 2 rounds, as he's not going to compete equally. He does not think the fight is scripted or rigged, but if Jake wins, then everybody's going to call it a fixed match. He is even mocking those fans who are saying that Jake can win, calling it their conspiracy to fuel Jake.
So yeah, I think Jake Paul gets folded in the first couple rounds. To be honest, I can't even pretend to hate. If he does win, it would be funny as I kind of hope the leaks are real. Like, even if it was, you know, allegedly to be paid off, at least get a knockout here either way. If it goes the distance, it's just fucking bull. I mean, you have the likes of Chavez Jr. posting that he thinks Jake Paul's going to win by unanimous decision. Got people wondering if that's some kind of sign. I'm just hoping it's a sign of CTE. Or having people to go as far as saying they're related to Jake Paul's opponents and claiming that they were rigged.
If it's paid off, Jake Paul. If not, Mike Tyson's gonna knock him out. Whoa, paid off. Hold on. Y'all be thinking Jake rigs his fight?
Yeah, I definitely think that.
Similar to other analysts, Frank Smith also thinks that though the matchup seems unusual, it is happening. And it sounds genuine because if somebody gets this much paid for fighting or getting knocked out by the opponent, obviously, anyone can accept this offer. He also tried hard to show Jake the real image of fighting Joshua, but he respects his decision at the same time.
But it begs the question, if Anthony Joshua ends up inflicting considerable damage on Jake Paul, how much does that reflect on you and Matchroom?
I think we go into the fight, we got offered a proposition to do this fight. Anthony Joshua accepted it. Jake Paul's put himself in a position to take that fight, you know, and that's the reality, you know, Jake Paul. But we all want everything we do in this sport, we want to make it as safe as we possibly can, but we have to accept the risks attached to it.
And this is risky, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is risky. I think Jake Paul's crazy. I think he's delusional. But respect to him for doing it, and he's getting a load of money.
Frank also mocked Jake, who was underestimating Joshua's skills. He claimed that even people around Jake are aware of Joshua's talents and success in the boxing world, but everyone is pretending like they do not know. They're just going to keep Jake's spirits high, but this is not going to help him.
He's going to go in there to do a job, right?
It's 100% real. It's 100% real. People ask him, why is it 8 rounds, not 10? Because I don't think it goes past the first round. So it's, you know, regardless, it's quite irrelevant. I think he steps across the ring and knocks him out. You know, but we're in for a bit of fun and everyone's going to be tuning in.
It might not be fun for Jake Paul. I mean, it's serious entertainment, is it?
Yeah, 100%. You know, look, I agree with you. I accept Jake Paul is absolutely mental for doing this. And I don't think he quite realizes. I think he's got people around him who actually are saying, you know, Anthony Joshua's chinny. He said it in interviews. It's quite wild, but you know, if that's the world he wants to live in, he'll find out on December 19th.
Moving to analyst comments, Ade Oladipo called this fight weird, as he does not think this is quite genuine to see Jake positioned against Joshua. Ade thinks that Joshua has never been a guy to knock out easily, but still, nothing can be said on a permanent basis, as Jake is also hyped because of the public. He seems quite impressed by Joshua's skills, victories, and his passion for boxing.
She's strange, right? I mean, AJ has never been B-side, ever. And look, that doesn't necessarily matter, I guess. I don't think those things should matter. Whose name's first, who walks first, but it is weird to see Jake Paul versus AJ as though Jake Paul is the bigger in this equation. Not for me. Maybe for MVP, Nikisa, Jake Paul, but not for me. I've kind of marked it or titled it David versus Goliath just because of the size difference. Like, Jake Paul's a big guy. He is. He's 6'1", 220. Probably fights around the 200-pound mark. AJ is an enormous guy.
Talking about Joshua's massiveness, Ade claimed that Jake must be impressed by his size and skills. When they faced off, and Jake was not even able to look into his eyes, then at that moment, he must consider thinking twice before fighting Joshua. He also mentioned that Joshua is a really serious fighter who never takes his bouts and opponents lightly, so Jake needs to struggle hard.
Like, he's a big unit. And I think Jake realized that when they came face to face. I don't know if that was the first time they've ever come that close. I'm sure they've met behind the scenes, but I think there was a realization from Jake Paul, like, fuck, this is a big dude. It's a very big dude who isn't coming to play. Like, there was no play with AJ. That was a press conference that almost sounded like AJ versus someone in the top 10, where AJ's taking it seriously. He's answering the questions direct that Ariel's throwing him. There was no, yeah, we're here to kind of fuck around. This is going to be easy. Give me my money and let me run back to the UK. This was AJ's like...
Finally, Ade said that even though this fight seems unreal to happen, it is genuinely happening and people are definitely going to watch this fight because Joshua is renowned for his skills and victories, while Jake is also well known in public. So for Ade, the matchup is going to be interesting.
I still can't believe it's happening, but it is happening. It will do incredible numbers. I've said that I think it will do numbers as big as Canelo Crawford. Some people have laughed at that. Don't laugh. honestly, because Canelo Crawford over here, it would have been a small, minute percentage of people that would have watched it on Netflix over here. AJ fighting over here, everyone's watching it. Everyone's watching it. Everyone's watching it in Africa because that's the impact AJ has. And obviously everyone's going to be watching it in America because of Jake Paul. And then because of how that photo looked. Again, David versus Goliath. People are now way more intrigued.
John and Nelson argued that although many people think that Josh was cashing out through this game and trying to get the best payday of his career, he will turn it down. For Nelson, Joshua will show up his skills as he is a man of principles, and definitely will get more attention, hype, and name after beating Jake rather than losing this game for money.
AJ, I'm stuck in between because nobody on this green earth would actually turn down 50-60 million to fight Jake Paul. And people that don't like this will probably watch it because they want to see Jake Paul getting knocked out. So what's it say about AJ and what's it say about Jake Paul? I think I was thinking upside down. For AJ, I thought, Mama's cashing out. He's cashing out because he's going down this mimic line. But I thought, in reality, is he? Realistically, he's thinking, you know what? This big mouth YouTuber stroke boxer has the cheek to call me out. I'd be pissed off at that, if I'm honest with you. I'd be upset if I was AJ, thinking.
Nelson added some comments for Jake as well, claiming that he's also getting real attention from this bout. Through his bold persona, he got public hype, and now this matchup would be his career changer. Nelson considers this fight a last one for Jake, especially in terms of fighting with such a massive guy.
Jake Paul now, I got to give this boy props, because he now has our attention and the whole world is talking about Jake Paul. I want to say a big thanks to probably 90% thinking the fight's going to happen. But I'm struggling. I'm thinking, this boy can't be so stupid. But then you hear a whisper. You hear a whisper that Jake Paul himself might be cashing out because the big purses that he's pulling.
To sum up the whole chaos, despite everyone's disbelief whether it's going to happen or not, the matchup is going to be held as scheduled. Jake Paul is being trolled by the public for considering it a mismatch. On the other hand, Anthony Joshua is also being criticized as most people claim that he's willing to fight for a huge amount of money. Even though analysts and public opinion do not match the real circumstances, as they do not know the fighter's real situation, it's going to make everyone curious about what is factual.